Hi, I'm Gordon Williams in Zion Blacksmith School. This is a fun one, kind of an easy one, and it's the Cowboy. Um, doesn't really take a lot of forging. These are really easy. There's a book called Iron Menagerie that came out, I think, in the early 90s, and Mark Asbury has this in his book. The only thing I do a little different, this could be a wizard with a pointed hat and a star, which we might do later. This one happens to be a cowboy. What I do differently, when I first looked at Iron Menagerie, one of the things that they do that I don't like, because I have a hard time doing things I can see, is they isolate this nose area upside down on the anvil. And I don't like that, so I use a different tool. Also, they won't have a beard like this. Okay, so they don't have the beard. So my mustache is a little different. Beard doesn't make one better than the other. It's just different. So what we're going to use for this project, on this one, you can do 3/8, any size of steel, big, 3/4, 1 inch. We're going to use 1/2 inch square. And his hat is a fender washer. Okay, now you'll notice on this one, this is a wall hook. It goes on like that. I've sanded the back of his hat off. That does two things. It makes it lay flat on the wall, but also gives it another point of contact. Because it's only got one screw, it's a big hook, it doesn't turn because it's actually touching the back of his hat a little and the screw area. So I've just sanded that off. You can file it if you don't have a sander, blah, blah, blah. So what we're going to use on tools, pretty basic tools. A lot of these kind of like in the Iron Menagerie. This is, I call it a lazy triangle. So this is maybe 3/4, 5/8. Doesn't really matter. And basically, I just probably hammered this a little bit at an angle to get that triangle. You could do a complete grind and just grind that off. And then slightly take your file and soften these edges. So after you've made your tool, of course, you should harden it. If you did get it hot and hammer it, you should go ahead and harden it. If you just did a grind, just keep it cool. And just make a lazy triangle, round on the top, round on the bottom, and kind of a triangle shape. I'm going to use a center punch, basic, an eyeball punch, which has a concave area in it, and I do have a video on how to make those. You can buy them also from Pay Tool Company, or I don't know if Blacksmith Depot sells them, Centaur Forge, but Pay Tool Company usually sells these. If you don't want to make them, they're easy to make. I'm also going to use a square set or a square butcher. Basically, this is a piece of 3/4. Could be high carbon steel. I don't remember. I've made them out of mild steel because as long as the steel's hot, this tool usually lasts. Hey, cat, get off here, Butterscotch. Feeding time. Horses and everything. So if you look, this butcher has a taper to it. That's going to help you when we set his nose. So you'll find that just like applying a hammer in a small area or on a horn, you can also, by isolating this and tilting it like that, it's going to go deeper quicker and then feather it out. I use that method on teardrops, the eye sockets, anything I want to go deeper. Once I get my spot, I'll isolate the force to a smaller area. As it goes down, I'll start to level my tool out, forcing less material. Okay, so we got those. I'm going to use just a piece of black pipe to set the hat on. When I'm done hammering a hole down, I think that's it. So this is going to be the progression. We're going to use that lazy triangle here. This is it's not hard, but getting this set that these are even and there's a nose bridge is important. Get them set deep. Characters look better if they're deeper. So I want to get these even across the top. Once you got that, this is a cakewalk. I'm going to use my butcher right under his nose right there. And that's going to make his nose bridge, so that's his nose. And also, I'm going to isolate a spot where my mustache is going to go. And I just blend that out to nothing. I'll show you that. Then my chisel fits right against there. Always successful in the class. After this, I also use the set later when I want to make this beard stand out. I'm going to take this set and I'm going to push it, hit it in the steel like that in the cut. And that pushes the steel down, see? So it makes the beard stand out. So I push steel down with it. Okay, and I've used it up here under the nose and the mustache. Okay, eyeball tool, that's self-explanatory, and I'll show you. All right, let's kind of get started on that. Okay, we're going to start the first step. And basically, what we're going to do is round this part up about 3/4 of an inch here. And when I start out, I'm going to turn this on the diamond and just hit the diamonds till I get it rounded up. Don't get it too pointy. They don't really have a pointed head. They can do whatever. Now, when I get what I'm going to do done, you can run a fuller up in here, which is a hat, kind of a softened chisel, and identify that crease in his hat a little bit more. So as we start to round this, right here, it's going to start to create what's called a fish lip. That little curve, they call that a fish lip. I'm going to use that by coming in right here and here with my hammer, kind of squeezing that up to give it this pocket down the center of the hat. Again, you could put it in the vise and run a fuller in that to make it better, but I'm not going to. So here we go. We're going to do this close to the edge of the anvil. Don't do it in the middle of your anvil. You're gonna mimic. I never lift the steel. I'm gonna elevate the steel off the anvil. This is 1/2 inch square, so I never elevate it off the anvil back here more than a half. It'll get bouncy and bendy. Okay, so here we go. So I'm lifting it back here, elevating, and I'm gonna hit that corner at an angle blow. So there's my angle blow, like that. Okay. Of course, I'm gonna do it on the edge of the anvil in a second. And I'm just gonna round that little 3/4 up. Not making it pointy. He's not a wizard. If it's a wizard, yes, but we're not. So I'm about there. And I'm going to come over here where I normally live. And I'm going to start to look for my fish lip, and I'll show you what that looks like. Just a second, just kind of cleaning it up. By coming in at more of an angle, you'll get that fish lip going. It's a natural occurrence. So, let's see if I can get that down there. I kind of have a U started there. So if that's my fish lip, I'm going to turn it there, hit it at an extreme angle, and just kind of... And again, this does look better with a fuller. I don't think it sells for more, so I'm not going to do it. Now, I'm going to use the eyeball punch, or the eye socket punch, right below my taper. We'll do that now. So now we're going to put the eye socket punch, which is the lazy triangle, and I want to make my eye sockets even across the top. So we're going to come in on this step here, and we're going to put that in there and work it. And then I'm going to tilt it forward towards his hat so it goes a little deeper on the hat side, feathers out to the bottom of the nose. I want to leave that nose pinch in the middle. That's his nose bridge, okay? So this is really the part that just take your time getting these even and get them deep. Okay, let's do it. You can, when you make your tools, you can put a soapstone mark there, a couple of notches so you know what's up when you come out, or you can hold it in your hand. When you come out, you know that's the way it's going to live. I'm going to use my hold down. My tools are ready. I'm going to come out, snap that down. I always tap my steel down until it makes anvil contact. I'm coming right under that taper, okay, and I'm going to work them evenly. I'm getting a little blind, besides other things, so it takes a little bit on this one for me to see exactly where I'm at. When it starts to lighten up, like right now, I can see it. I'm going to work them down evenly. I'm about there. This is the only hard part of this. And I wouldn't say it's hard. It's just, you got to get them even. Okay, let's kind of look where we got there. Okay, so we've stuck that in there. And the big side of the triangle, so there's your lazy triangle, the big side is up towards his hat, the little side on the bottom. Work them in. Now, if you tilt your chisel like this, it'll start to chatter off. In other words, it'll try to run off. If that starts to happen, just bring your punch up so it's straight and push down the center and it'll lay back in flat. I do all of these heads on the anvil. This one, I don't do anything twice other than put his head on. So now we're going to establish the nose, the bottom of the nose, and the mustache. Okay? So now we're going to use the square set, or the butcher, okay? And we're going to come under here and butcher this. And then at that same heat, I let it blend out to nothing. So it's deep under the nose, about as deep as the eye sockets, and then I just let it blend out almost at that black heat. And that's going to give me a really good place that my chisel just lays against. We'll talk about that when we get there. So right now, we're going to do this area right here. Okay? Right under the nose. Did this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay, we'll get her hot, we'll get her going. Okay, we're gonna do this part under the nose and establish where his mustache is gonna be. For me, I kind of find, I like the Cowboy's mustaches a little shorter than the Wizard's, longer. Now, you can make these a handlebar mustache, just depends how much you cut off. So let me get her out and we'll do that. Got my tools ready. Have everything ready before you come to the anvil. Think at the forge, work at the anvil. Okay? Never come out without the hammer in your hand. Now my hold down's up. I've spotted where I'm going to go. I commit to the anvil. And I always tap my piece down. And you might want a glove doing this. I don't. It helps me turn your tool the right way, like I told you. So again, I'm going to try to find a little pinch. And again, I don't see as well this light where I'm at. No excuses, but it takes me a minute for it to darken up, and then I'll refine that. Try to get them evenly, basically. Okay, good. Not good, it's not perfect. Sometimes, just that way. And what I'm doing now is I'm making the length of the mustache I want. And I'll show you what I mean. These are just soft tips. And I make my mustache come out the same on the bottom, so I just work them until the little points are the same. Show you a minute. This is where we start to differ from the Iron Menagerie or Mark's book, because they'll establish this bridge of his nose by turning it over and doing a half-face blow. Well, I have a hard enough time doing things where I can see them, let alone upside down. Plus, this gives me a place for my chisel now. See if I can get that down there for you. So it's deep under here, and it's feathered out to nothing. And again, that could be way down here. Just make these come out as points. It works better. And now I'm going to take my chisel, and I'm going to make a light cut down the center. Okay. My chisel just fits there. I don't even have to think now. Just a light cut. I'm just getting them marked, and then I'm going to make my mustache cuts. And I'm going to call going along with the bar linear. I'm going to make my cuts long and linear. In other words, following the mustache area in like that versus coming in straight across. Because I made a cut here, if I go straight across, that could be a break. So I make my lines long, not horizontal, lateral, or up and down, parallel, whatever, long. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so what we're going to do now, I just made this depression here. I've got the bottom of his nose established, and I ran that set down as far as I want the mustache to come out. I try to make the points come out evenly. So now I can take my chisel and lay it right against there, and I'm going to make this first cut and that first cut, just marking them. And then I'm going to come in here and make them kind of linear. In other words, run in line with the mustache. Don't run in straight across, because when you open it, it'll break, okay? You can see, and I usually do all this in one heat, down cutting his mustaches, but you should take a couple heats or maybe 3. So once you got all these lines in marked, you're done. You've just got it marked. And then see where these little tips right here are hung to the body? I'm going to come in with my chisel and cut those off, walk my chisel up, get some material, cut the rag loose, which is the rags where it's held to the body. Walk up, get material, cut the rag loose. Walk up, get the material, cut the rag loose. That's going to bring his mustache out. All right, let's give it a try here. Okay, again, tools where I need them. These aren't very deep in a way. They're deep enough to see them. Okay, what do I do when I first come out? I always tap down so he's not bouncy. I lay that in there. I don't really have to look. I am kind of angling on to the inside, just to keep my chisel from sliding off. I'm going to make some linear lines, some mustache lines, as many as you like. Okay. Try to go an odd number. Nature has odd numbers. We're an odd creature. So I'm just going to mark it up a little bit. I can see it here in just a second. There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. Kind of get as many as you want. Just kind of getting them established a little bit. Okay, as many as you want. I don't make them the same, but I could. Okay. So now we got this one. Okay. There's your mustache started. Now, where that tip is right there, I'm going to cut that away from the body. Grab some material, cut it away from the body. Come to this side, cut it loose, grab some material, cut it loose. Okay? All right. Next step, number 4, we're going to cut the mustache loose from the body. This is where we're at now. We're going to cut it loose. And then see where the tips came off of right there? That's where this tip was, and that tip right down there. That's the top of his beard line. I'm going to cut a chisel mark and a chisel mark for the beard, and I'm going to run lines up. After I get his mustache cut loose from his body, at a black heat, I usually center punch a mouth. Now, this is where, especially getting blind or you're older like I am, you got to be careful. I'll show you. I tilt my center punch and I give it a light tap. Oh, am I in the middle? Oh, good. I'll go in. If I'm not, if I'm off to the side, I can move it and fix it. If I hit it too hard and I'm not center, I could just bust that half of his mouth off. So take your time, light hits, find your middle, send her home. Okay, here we go. We're going to cut this loose now. Watch what my butt does too. This side, I always hammer the way God put me together, like this, that right angle I talk about. I like that. I don't have joint strain. I'm always moving. So this side is natural. Look at, I always hammer like that. But now look at this side. My elbows go up. I'm doing that. It's like a monkey humping a football. Really fun to watch. It doesn't do a lot. So that means when I find my elbows coming up, it means my butt's in the wrong spot. So I go to here. See, now I'm back natural. 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 I don't like to stick my elbows up like that. You can't see real well when you do that. Okay, let's do it. Cut it loose. We're almost done with this guy. More heats. I'm going to snap it down, tap him down, and I'm going to cut this mustache loose. Okay. Good, that one's loose. I move my butt to the other side, slightly angling in. There goes the tip. Grabbing some material. I walk up, get some material, cut the rag loose. Cut as much rag loose as you want. Okay, that looks good. Okay, I'm going to use my center punch. That one used to be a center punch. I got a lot of them. And I'm going to put a mouth in him. This is where old age, you have to be careful. Yeah, tap it. I see which way, if I need to move it, and then I'm going to tap it in. You can put lips and all kinds of things on these. Nostrils, I might put nostrils, I might not. Sometimes I do. They don't really sell for more. Okay. So, we've got his mustache cut loose. I cut the tip loose. I rock my chisel up, make my chisel cut deeper, go back down, cut the rag loose. Walk it deeper down. Okay? Do these hot. Don't waste things now. I put a mouth in cold. I don't like the mouth way up by the nose. If I put nostrils in, he looks like a bowling ball to me. So now, right there is the start of my chisel cut. That's the top of the beard. I'm going to do a V cut. And then I'm going to walk lines up to the mouth for the beard. Then just eyeballs, hat, we're done. Okay, we're going to do the beard now. So you can see right here, I made a chisel cut from the top of where the mustache came off, down to the center, another chisel cut. Longer is better, kind of like long. And then I made some chisel marks up to the mouth. Again, I rock my chisel. I don't lift it out of the cut. I roll it. And then, see right on this side, I haven't pushed down. That's the cut. So you're going to put the square set, that butcher, right in that cut like that. And you're going to shove that down, both sides. So You can see right there, shoved down. And what that'll do is, you can see by shoving that down, that material, it makes his beard stand out. Okay? Again, that's where we've deviated from the Iron Menagerie. Okay, may not make it better, it's just different. And these can get really, you can make some really nice heads, depending how much time you want to spend on them. Okay, let's go ahead and set that beard in. I usually set them the whole thing in one heat, but I'm doing a lot of these in several heats. It's hard for me to talk and do these sometimes. Okay, so I tap down. I'm going to make a long chisel cut for his beard. Just going the points to the center. Okay, and sometimes it's even straight. I'm going to walk some lines up to his mouth. Just rolling. My chisel is a walking chisel or a curved slitting chisel, so I can roll it in. You don't want to use a flat, straight chisel like a full chisel. Fairly thin. I'm going to do one more. And that's good enough. Let's look at it. I'll show you next is the square punch, eyeballs, and we'll put the hat on this guy. Okay. So I made the long V cut. Now I'm going to take that butcher, remember that square butcher, oops, and I'm going to set it right in the cut and hammer that down. Set it right in the cut, hammer that down, and that makes the beard lift out. And then I may go and accentuate these lines. That also gives it a little dimension. Let's give her a try. There's where we're at so far. Okay, I'm going to push the beard lines at the bottom of the beard down with the square butcher, square set. So I'm just going to come out, tap down. I'm going to set the butcher in there and just give it a hit. I work it kind of evenly. The other side. And I just get them to where I like it. And as deep as I want it to look, or as big as I want the beard to stand out. If I want to, while I got a little heat, I'm going to walk into the bottom of these beard lines, and it kind of gives them, opens them up a little. You don't have to do this, but because the material is relieved now away from that, I can cut down, and it just gives it a little. You don't have to do it. A little dimension. I think it does. Grab the tongs. See what it looks like. We're ready for eyeballs. I'll show you how to do the nostrils. I don't know if I will. Okay, so we push this material down. Now, I'm going to use the eyeball punch. Remember, I made a video on that. And I don't have to think. This tool is going to go right up there. It just stops. I give it a whack. I do the other side whack. I kind of roll my tool. Give it a whack till I got them evenly deep. I'll put a center punch in that pupil for a pupil cold, or at that black heat. Then he's done. We're going to put his hat on. If this is a handle or something, you might want to pull your mustache in. If it's on the wall, it'll be against the wall. Nothing will hook it, because that'll be against the wall. Okay. Let's get that done. Okay, we're taking her home. We're going to put some eyes in them. Eyes and pupils. Probably the fastest heat we have right here. Again, it just fits there. You can notice I kind of angle in. That just keeps my chisel from doing anything crazy. Okay, I've got them in there. I'm going to go as deep as I want to make them. I want my punch to fill up, concave. I'm going to go ahead and put some pupils in them with a center punch. That just goes right in the center of that convex round. And I have a cowboy with no hat. Okay? There he goes. Now, if this was a wizard, he'd have a pointed hat, a star, maybe eyebrows, whatnot. Now, just so I can show you here, maybe, if I can find it. Okay. I remember the eye socket punch was that lazy triangle. You could just use a square, your square butcher, and you can go in like this, and like this, and then do his nose. And it does give it on a wizard a little more evil look by just using the square, setting like that. So you can do that. Okay, let me go ahead and I'll put the hat on him. Okay, we're going to put the hat on. And the hat is, for this is 1/2 inch square stock. So I use a 1/2 inch fender washer. Fender washers are the big washers. This one's probably 1.5 inches. Depending what size hat you want. You can make these. But now these are covered, these have cadmium or galvanized stuff on them. You don't want to weld or put a bunch of that in your fire, stand there and breathe it because it is a hard metal. It's not good for you. In fact, a lot of it could kill you if you doing galvanized pipe welding. Don't ever do that in the shop. So what you can do, you can do it the way I do it, but I'm not going to recommend it, though that's what I've done all these years. If I have a lot of these, I'll put these in a bucket, get like a coffee, plastic Folgers coffee thing, drill a bunch of holes in the bottom, put a wire bell on it, throw a bunch of these, 100 of these in them if you're doing 100, and then get another bucket that this fits down into and put muriatic acid. You can get pool acid, you can get it at Home Depot. Now they have it so that it doesn't have the vapors, so you don't have that smell. And I just let those soak for about 30 minutes, and that'll take that off so you're not breathing that. Now, I do, when nobody's here, don't tell anybody. I'll throw them in my forge and walk off, do something else. I got a lot of forges when it's burnt off. And haven't killed me yet. But the other will take it off. We're not going to do a lot of welding on, but we are going to put it in the fire to shape it. So what I'm going to do now is set that up here on his head. And I usually have a little short piece of pipe, anything, a socket, anything to go over here. And I'm going to set that on here. And I'm going to set that hat down. Okay, tight. And I'll show you what I found that I like to do. Okay, when I set this down, I actually want the hat tilting up, not over his eyes yet, because we're going to shape it. And I found that if I don't do this, have it up, when I shape it and pull the brim down, I hide his face. So I'll show you. Again, that's what I like. I don't want to hide all of his face. So I tilt his hat back like that. And here, I'm going to go and weld this right here. Just put a bead. Now, some of you may not have a welder, so you have to figure out a way to hold the hat on. And you can, when you first round this up, go behind in the vise and do a little chisel cut down in. So it kind of has an angle cut. Keep that pounded in. And then when you get all done, you can put your chisel in and coin that over a little bit. It's not fun. I'd get a welder if I were you. The wire feeds are cheap now. A MIG, not very expensive. Start making things like Wizard. You could do this guy without the hat. Make 10 Wizards. Sell them. You almost have enough for a welder. So, do that. So I'm going to go tack this right back there, and then I'll come back. Okay. So we got his hat on there. I've welded it or tacked it on underneath right there in the back. Try not to burn a hole in it. I'm going to heat it up, and I'm going to grab the sides for me right here and just bend them up like a potato chip. It looks kind of stupid. I just bend them up, and then when I put a little heat and grab it in the center, pull it down, it starts to get a shape. So I just bend the sides up, pull the front down. Let's get her done. Okay, going for the finish on the Cowboy, bending his hat. So I'm going to get him over here to the vise, complicating your way a little bit. So get this up like a potato chip. Vise. Oops, I did a little too much. Sorry about that. My fault. Okay, sorry I let it slip in the vise. I'm going to finish his hat now, pull the brim down. I'm just going to come in here and pull the brim down. Take it the way you like it. Like flat in the front, heel kick, whatever you like. Sorry I'm in your way. I just don't usually come in the right side of my vise. I'm right-handed. Most of the time a right-hander will come in the left side of the vise. Good or better time. I feel it first. Here it is. Boy, all we got to do is the horse. Okay, we've done the steer, Cowboy. I usually don't put the hat on until I got everything else done I want. Is it going to be a poker, hook, coat rack? I don't know. People buy anything. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. God bless.